Welcome to the exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. It's the final recap of the Traitors season 3. It's been a very fun season. I'm excited to talk about the finale, the reunion, everything else. And my guest this week is my friend, Big Brother 26 player, and America's Favorite Player finalist, Quinn Martin. Quinn, how are you?
I'm just hanging out. Here's today's fit check. We have the sick
Yes.
nasty hoodie designed by Turner. And then I have these incredible pink pants that I couldn't bring into the Big Brother house. But we're out here. We're stunting hard. I'm feeling great. I'm thriving. I'm gonna try to match the energy of Big D and Corey. I have some massive shoes to fill, but hopefully I can achieve the goal of at least being half as entertaining and interesting as them.
I have no doubt. Also, why didn't they let those pants in? Too holy or what? Like,
Too
there's the
holy.
too holy.
They're like, no,
It's like,
we don't want to get too
where's the
religious
line?
here. And I was like, fair enough. I get it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, also, real quick, if you don't mind, Quinn, I just want to thank the listeners. I hit 10,000 subscribers, which was, it took a while, but this is a part-time sort of gig for me. And so it really means a lot that people subscribe and like listen to my stuff. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribes. Um, but yeah, Quinn, what's new? How are you?
I'm doing
Everything's good?
great. I'm so excited for you. 10K is nothing to even remotely diminish, and we're just getting started. All right, I can't wait for
Yes.
this time next year. We're gonna be at 1 million. I'm super excited for that. I Twitch stream 6 days a week at 7:12 Central Standard Time. I cover Dondi. I cover Traitors and Survivor now. And I play video games. That's all I've been up to. I feel like I'm very uninteresting.
No, I mean, that's cool. I was going to ask you, and maybe this is just me being stupid, but like, why so specific of a time?
Oh, I just think it's
7:12.
hilarious.
Oh,
I just
okay.
think that's funny. I don't know. Yeah, my
Oh,
fraternity has
okay.
this joke with like the number 12, and so I feel like I've carried that beyond college and stuff like that. So 712 it is.
How did I not know you were in a fraternity? Did you say
It's
that on Big
not
Brother?
like a no, it wasn't part of my casting or anything. It was like my it's not a national fraternity. It's called Alpha Pi Epsilon. We're called apes. It's like all theater, band, choir, and gay people. And
Okay.
so it's not like whenever I tell people I'm in a fraternity, there's like a bit of hesitation. Then I have to be like, but we're cool. We're cool. All right. We're positive. We're nice.
Yeah.
Prioritize
Uh,
gentlemanship and respect, things like that.
Season 3 for you, where does it rank among the 3 seasons so far, would you say?
Season 3 for me is definitely number one. Just because we got to have Britney on our screen, we got to have Danielle on our screen. Unfortunately, last season we lost Dan so early, and it was like, it kind of took some of the air out of the season for me. This year we got a lot of my faves and new faves. Like I follow Gabby on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh,
I didn't even know who she was before the show, and now I need her everywhere. So to me, this has been like the best season. I really, really enjoyed it.
I agree. I agree. And even if, we'll talk about the finale, even if some people weren't thrilled with the ending, it's like I just think the season was super entertaining and no complaints for me. Um, okay, well, where we left off was obviously the big cliffhanger. I sort of suspected Brittany turned on Danielle because it was a cliffhanger. But what were you thinking going in? Did you think that she had flipped and voted out Danielle, or were you like not sure?
I was so confident that Brittany voted Ivar and that they were going to make a nothing burger out of this. Just because they love these cliffhangers that lead to nothing, unfortunately. Um, which I don't know. I think that Traitors is a relatively new show, and so hopefully we get better at utilizing that, I guess. But I really thought that they played up so much that Danielle flipped that Brittany flipped on Danielle that I thought, oh, then that means she voted Ivar. Um,
Yep.
like I really felt like they were building up into it. And so when Danielle got banished, I was like, wait, what the heck? This is so sad. Why did they do this to me? But yeah, I got bamboozled. I was tricked. They got me at least.
Brittany flipped, and it was a little shocking. It kind of, I don't want to say it's poetic because if anything, it should be poetic that if Daniel flips on her. But it was just, like who knew Big Brother Reindeer Games lore would be so strong? Like it is insane, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just like kind of giddy over it, even though it never got renewed.
Which is crazy. When we were in the jury house, people were so confident that there was going to be a reindeer games, and they lied to us all the time for fun. Like it was hilarious. At one point,
Yeah.
a producer was like, "It might be a triple eviction," and I was like, "Is it?" and because I was convinced it was a double eviction right after me, and so every single week I was like, "It's a double eviction, baby." I read them like a book, and every time they're like, "Hard to say, I don't know." And so I was shocked to find out that it wasn't renewed. And then it led to so much drama outside of the Big Brother universe. I wish that it was still on Paramount Plus.
I
Um,
know.
Me and my mom were upset about that last night because she was like, I would have rewatched it before um,
A
the
lot of people
season
would
of
have.
Traitors, but I'm obsessed with the fact that something as silly as reindeer games led to such earth-shattering heartbreak from Danielle in like the relationship with Britney. I hope they're best friends outside of this. That's always my hope, is that you
Yeah.
do everything and you say everything. And it's just like blows my mind that who could have seen this coming? Not me.
Yeah, it's also I find it funny that they're like forced to say like BB reindeer games. Like it's such a cheesy name, and I'm like, this is kind of hilarious. But
It was brought up during the finale. Bob was like, "You didn't have to do it during reindeer games," and I was like, I haven't seen it in a year, but I seem to remember that it was like that to me was the nicer option because what if the person survived and then Danielle is facing certain death? But hey, I can't fact check it, so I just have to take Bob the drag queen's perspective on it as truth. It's crazy.
yeah. Okay, so do you think was this the right optimal move? Obviously, we know Brittany does not win the game, so it could be a little bit of like what's that called? Like results oriented sort of thinking, but I didn't really understand why she flipped because it would have went to chance anyway, and I also think Brittany had a target on her back anyway, and if Danielle stayed, she could have pushed. I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely think that for the sake of not getting banished by the final, like to make it to the fire ceremony, I think Brittany would be fine, and so in that sense, it would be the right move. But I think that establishing such a like strong connection with Danielle, and I really did believe Danielle like in the edit when, or I really did believe Brittany in the edit when she said that she looked at Dolores and Dolores looked at Danielle. I did believe that. I watched her interview with Puya and Rob, and so it kind of left me feeling in the gray on what the actual truth was, or like what
Mm,
it was probably a combination of both. But I think that Danielle going out this round guaranteed that Brittany would die at the next banishment, and
true.
so I think that Brittany was just in trouble no matter what because
Yep.
they just left too many like faithfuls in. I think that they should have killed Ivar and kept Tom and then let Tom die to like Dolores
Yep.
banishing him. Like I really think that that was the downfall of the Traitors this season was they wanted to keep in these like very faithful people and it's because that was their number, but at a certain point they all unionized and took
Yep.
out like anyone who had an ounce of suspicion on them. So I think that Brittany was screwed no matter what, but for the sake of friendship maybe she should have just gone for the coin toss by voting to evict Ivar because I don't
Yeah,
know.
that is fair. Brittany in my exit interview talked about, which is something I didn't really think about. She said she thought they had Dylan. She was very, or she thought Danielle really did have Dylan, and when she realized they didn't, that's when she was like, "Oh, wait, we're kind of effed here." And so she agrees that she shouldn't have killed Tom. That was sort of a bad move because I also was like, that didn't really make sense. Tom was going after Dolores. I don't know, like leave all the people that are going after each other. Dylan's just like such like, and even Gabby, like they're such they think on their own. They're not really going with the group all the time. And so those are the people that are dangerous, right? But hindsight's always 2020. Okay, yeah, and the Dolores of it all, like that was interesting that Dolores in the reunion said Brittany made that up. I don't that was confusing to me. Like, huh? Like I guess editing could make it look like it was something, but
My
Yeah.
thing is I have faith in like my CBS people that they're not going to lie in the diary room. And so when Brittany says it's on the show, I agreed. I was like, she said it in the diary room. You're not like, I don't know. I was
Yeah.
like very honest in the diary room. And I think that like most people are, especially when you have like, Danielle's played, or oh my gosh, Brittany's played twice. And so it's like, that's a lot of times. Like every single time I went into the DR, it was for 2 hours at like 4 in the morning, or 2 in the morning to 4. And it's like, you just instantly get comfortable that it's like, I'm just going to go in there and say whatever I feel. And so I don't think that that's going to change just because you're on a different set. Just because the
Mm,
house is now Scottish doesn't mean you're not going to be who you were. And I think that Brittany tells the truth in the diary room. I can't think of an example within Big Brother where Brittany wasn't sharing the truth. And so I thought that was crazy when Dolores was. I felt like there was some projection there where like maybe
yeah.
you've lied in a diary room setting before, but I know my girl Brittany wouldn't. Okay. It was just crazy to me to say that. It's weird.
Yeah, that's so true. I will say though, the one thing I don't really even consider it lying. Don't they at least sort of sometimes make you talk about scenarios that you're probably not going to go with anyway, but they might cut that into the show? Like it's not lying, but they're like, don't they prompt you to be like, well, what if this happened? Even if you're like, that's not going to happen, but let me play it out for you.
For me personally, it was like a lot of open-ended questions where they're like, and I'm a yapper, so I feel like my experience versus like,
Well, Brittany is
I don't.
too.
That's
Brittany
true.
talks.
It's just like for me, it would be always be very open-ended. Like, okay, what are you thinking this week? And then I would say, yeah, I really want to get Angela out this week. And so then they're like, oh, okay, cool, and we'd have a conversation about that, and I would share all of my pros, and then they would just ask like, okay, and if you got the sense that the house is going the other way, do you see any value in that? And then I would just think out loud and go through my thoughts. And if
Right.
they were to like, I don't know. I think that I was just very open in the diary room. And so, and I knew that like I'm a super fan of Big Brother. So I was like, I understand that you need to see both sides. In the jury roundtable, I'm going up to bat hardcore for Cam, even though I know Chelsea has my vote no matter what.
Yep.
And so I understand what they need. So maybe that's a little different, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Brittany wouldn't lie about
No, I agree. I agree.
seeing the odds. That
Um,
was weird.
Okay, well, I think it's time. Let's give Danielle a little bit of a eulogy here. Talk to me about her game. She was very polarizing to some of the viewers. I think everyone knows where I stand. I'm a Danielle fan. I don't care what she did. I love her. But give me your eulogy. How do you think Danielle did in this game?
I think that I think that Danielle is a pit viper, and it took her a second to find some momentum in the game and figure out her footing on how she's going to play off others. And I think that at the end of the day, no matter what the theatrics are, she's one of the most dangerous people in reality TV. And to underestimate her, which is what happened, people thought, oh, she's this shaking old lady and she's crying. And so she must be faithful, all this stuff. I think the biggest miscalculation you can have in reality TV is assume that Danielle Reyes isn't capable of being dastardly and nefarious, and that's what we love her for. Her grandkids, you wouldn't believe it, they're okay. Can you, it's insane. They made it out of the season. Can you believe it? It's almost as if the Lord has no investment in the like execution of reality TV. I think that she did a great job. She was super exciting. And she gave us some Big Brother 3 realness. Also, Lisa, what was that tweet? I don't know if you saw that. That was crazy.
Wait, Lisa.
Lisa from Big Brother 3 tweeted out a picture of her being Team Faithful.
Wait, when was this? I completely missed this.
This is today. I bookmarked it. I'll send it to you.
Oh
But
shit.
I think that
Hmm.
Danielle will always put on a show that's worth watching and is always going to play a game worth celebrating. People may
Yeah.
not like it. Her co-stars might find it exhausting, but the truth is she's deadly. And that's what we love about her. I think she's great.
That was very well said. Couldn't agree more. We won't go into the whole lying on your grand, like everyone sort of talked it out as much, but and I thought it was interesting though, they did bring up at their reunion the NDA sort of rumors and stuff, which I do like when Andy does this a lot on Bravo, but like sometimes they like to skip over this sort of what's going on in social media and outside the game. I do like when they ask because that's what people want to know. Like, yeah, the rumors going around, let's just settle it. I never thought that she broke the NDA. I think Britney just knew Danielle enough to like look at her and be like, yeah, something's up. She's probably a traitor. I don't know. What do you think?
I felt the same way. No one's cheating, like especially something like that. And I also felt like it was taken way too far. It felt like to me when people were like talking about it, it was just like speculation. It was like, I don't know if this is what happened. Like that's what I remember seeing. I might be
Yeah.
incorrect, but it wasn't like they were pointing their finger being like this person cheated. It was just like, I don't know if that's what happened and that's why the show unfolded the way it did, but at no point did I think there's ever any validity that people would cheat because honestly, I think a lot of if you're a big reality TV personality like that and you're on a show like Traitors, you know the value and the mission is to provide good TV and provide a fun game for the viewers, and cheating like that would take the fun out of it. And I think that that's something that no one is going to do. Like, I really
Yeah.
don't think that. I did think
Yeah.
of a way to cheat. If I were Britney, this is crazy. This is using production as a strategy, which is illegal and you can't do it. If I were Britney and I was sitting at the table and you like open the envelope with Gabby, I would
Hmm.
pretend to look at a member of production. I'd be like, so do I get to tell her I'm a faithful or no? Or do I tell her my
Stop.
status or no? That's what I told my mom. I was like, yo, if we were some real dirtbags, that's what you could do, but no one's gonna cheat.
Oh
Like,
God, production would lose their mind. I feel like.
because they can't confirm anything, but I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would do that.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's curious, like go back and watch my Legends interview with Danielle last year because she actually talked about, and this is, I guess this was, it might have been after filming of Traitors, I forget, but she talks about even during Big Brother 7, she was sort of, again, could be what she's saying, but I do believe her when she said, and I think I've heard as much. She wasn't pre-gaming as much as other people because she does take her NDA seriously. I think there's a scale with people, like I'm sure you know, Quinn, but like there are some people that are a little more loosey goosey, and then there are some people who are like, I'm not pre-gaming, don't, I'll pick up the phone, but I won't call anyone. Like everyone has different degrees of like what they consider like breaking an NDA. But Danielle's not that person. So yeah.
I fully
Um,
agree.
all right. So we get to breakfast after Danielle's gone. Brittany, oh, we learned that Brittany is the seer. Is this best case scenario, I guess, in that moment? Because no one can, I think she would have got called into whatever they called it, the dinner, if it was anyone else, right? Or no?
I think that
Unless,
was the only way she survived
yeah.
the initial whatever. I thought it was crazy. The editing didn't even suggest for a moment that Brittany was within the conversation. And I was like, that should have been
Yeah.
the cliffhanger, not the vote, but the seer. Because I was pretty convinced it was between Danielle and Dylan. And
Mm.
then when Danielle dies and bites the bullet, then it's like, oh, it's also Brittany's the seer, by the way. And we move on past it so quickly. I'm like, we could have turned this into a way more
It was
dramatic
so
moment.
yeah, it was so anticlimactic. I don't know. It's too late in the game too. I still am saying that. I just think it's too powerful too late. I think earlier it could be fun, but also I guess then someone's identity there. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it that much. How do you feel about it?
I agree. It was way too early. I like the idea of I fully co-sign early in the game. They should have made it as culty as possible. Like I'm talking not a marching bass drum, but a concert bass drum that's like this big. They should have been in the forest with torches lit and playing and then some crash cymbals. And there should have that person should have been blindfolded with empty soda bottles where they're going get an atmosphere of creepiness for the seer, and people don't even know if they've been found out maybe or something like that. Like they could have. This is an interesting element of the show that should be used within maybe the first 4 episodes as
Mm,
just a way to get someone out early on where there's still a lot going on. But instead, it just felt very dangerous. And Dylan called it out where he goes, okay, if Britney calls out Gabby as
Gabby.
a traitor, then that means she's a traitor for sure. And it's like, okay, well, now there's like definitives going into like the fire ceremony at the end where it's like, okay, well, if Britney survives this and like Gabby were to go home, they're still going to have suspicion on Britney. So it felt like very anticlimactic despite the potential to be really exciting TV.
So true. And also I felt like the little dinner or whatever, it reminded me of The Circle when they do the little, I don't know, I don't even know what they call it, hangouts or whatever. Yeah, I agree. It was kind of like, okay, dinner, here's an envelope, let's do some small talk. Kind of underwhelming in my opinion, but I could be, my opinion can change. I do think she played it well in terms of just saying, yeah, Gabby's a faithful, because I played it out in the other way and I just don't see either way. Brittany was like in the line of fire. So I think she played that well, but what do you think? Was there
I
another way to
think
do it?
Britney is I've Danielle Reyes is one of my favorite or one of the best players in my opinion, but Britney is one of my favorite players. She's always been very capable. She's always been a good Big Brother player, and so I was not surprised at all to see her be able to work through in real time, despite the heartbreak of sending your like frenemy home, and you know that that's going to rip a lot of the work that you've done within the like castle apart. She was still able to make a very competent decision, which was honesty. I feel like as boring of TV as it is, honesty
Yep.
really is the cheat code in reality TV competition games. Um, and so I think she played it as well as you could, because if she called Gabby out as a traitor, that just means Gabby's game is over, and then your game is over later on. And I don't know. I really feel like there were just too many faithfuls for
Mm.
her to be able to pull off anything else.
That's now that I'm thinking about it, though, because I was like, I think Gabby was a good choice. But what if she pulled Dylan in, made it seem like she was really sus of him, kind of feeling like you're okay, I'm a faithful, I'm pulling Dylan in because like it's gotta be because like Dylan already thought it might have been Gabby, so you could have kept that out there. And then when Dylan says he's a faithful, I don't know, maybe that's thinking too much into it. Do you think Gabby was the right pick?
I think so, because Brittany was able to say, yeah, I did have suspicion on Gabby, and I would
Mm,
have called back to the coffin theory and been like, we milked that until it was dry, and the only answer was all three people have to be banished. That's the only way we'll be able to put the theory to rest. And so I liked where Brittany was, where her head was at, saying, okay, I had suspicion on Gabby going into that round table, and I just wanted to put it to rest. And I felt like that was the most faithful thing to do. And it just like really makes you look good as someone who's trying to find all the traitors. Like you want to come off as a good detective and someone who's willing to crack a couple skulls in the name of honor and justice. And so I thought Brittany did a great job there.
yeah, I mean, it definitely confused Dylan, right? Because like he wasn't expecting that, and he's like, "Well, wait, are they both traitors now?" Like it didn't necessarily take sus off Brittany, but it, I guess, made, Gabby a little more sus to him, maybe, possibly, I don't know. Again, it could all be smoke and mirrors because at the end of the day, they all split the money, so not really sure. Um, but yeah, after breakfast, we just see a lot of sort of scrambling before the mission. Poor Ivor, he's, like, maybe thinking there are 2 traitors left. Him and Dolores are still going at it. I'm curious to know, like, I know as like a gamer, it could be frustrating to have these people in here like with throwing rogue votes or completely like off base. I still find it fun as a viewer, but like what do you think? Do you need those kind of people in the game to like keep it interesting?
I definitely think that Traitors doesn't need to be the most competitive game out there. Like we already have Big Brother and Survivor. I like the theatrics. I like it when people make funny decisions. Dolores voting out Tom. Everyone else is pointing at like Carolyn and Danielle, and Dolores is like, I don't know. Tom's just got bad vibes, and I'm gonna vote him out. And so I think that they should be allowed, but I think it's like they should totally be included. I just think it's the responsibility of Traitors to be able to identify when these like lost sheep become a threat to you. You know, like in a lot of ways on Twitch, I've been saying that Ivar is the Bowie Jane of the season, where
Mm,
you know what you're going to get from her, and you know what you're going to get from him, and he made it so far that it's like, well, there's no shot. And so now all of a sudden, someone who is now aimless and maybe a little bit not quite as like game savvy, now all of a sudden that person has like, 20% of the vote. And that's super crucial when you can't reason with them. And
yeah.
so that's part of the value of keeping the bigger gamers around. But in whole, having the non-gamers around, I think that that adds a fun element, and I think it's worth celebrating, because I think that Traitors should just be the like, champagne toast of reality TV, where it's like, hey, we're all on this fun show and we're all dressed very nicely. That's mandatory, by the way. I think that if you're going to be on Traitors, you need to do what Drag Race does, where they take out like 13K loans, and they have to win the show, otherwise they're broke for life. Like, are you kidding me? If I see a polo on my screen next year, I'm going to lose my mind. At one point, Boston Rob was wearing a Fila zip-up jacket that then they had to put the blackout tape over the logo. And I was like,
Did
this
they?
is crazy. Are you kidding me? There wasn't a single pussy bow worn by a member, like a dude. There was no high fashion. Thank goodness, like, there were some people willing to take risks, aka like Bob Harper, but that's the real tea. If you're going to be on the show, you need to be well dressed. But I think the non-gamers should be invited.
That's hilarious. I was actually going to ask you, and we'll talk about it. I was going to ask you about the reunion looks because I do want your thoughts on them. But who would you say was like the best dressed in the castle? I really was digging Sierra's looks, and I talked to her, and she said she pulled those all together herself. So like, I think she was good. And then I didn't realize, I think I insulted Tom Sandoval because I was like, because I had heard he lost his luggage, and I was like, oh, that makes sense why you were wearing a like tracksuit in the first episode and all the promo photos. Like that doesn't fit like a Scottish castle. He's like, no, I love that tracksuit. I was like, fuck. Like, I didn't mean to insult you, but like, it just didn't fit the theme. So I don't know. Who was like the best dressed in your opinion?
I think that Bob Harper was up there. Bob the drag queen will always look wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ion, I really liked her looks. I thought she looked great. I agree with Sierra. That one hat that she had looked so good. It like fit her perfectly.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
uh, it was mostly the men, I feel like, who were asleep at the wheel, and I was just really disappointed, where it's like, let this be a PSA. If you are a dude and you're going on the Traitors, send me a text, give me a call,
Mm,
and we'll
he's
make this
offering his
happen. Okay?
services.
We need corduroy. We need some like 70s
Love
flare
corduroy.
out. If you're gonna wear denim, it needs to be something interesting. Like a Canadian tuxedo could be very fun if you had like a bolo tie, or a bandana wrapped around your neck, something, anything. But I definitely thought that Bob Harper brought the heat. I was always very thankful that he was on screen because he looked good.
Yeah. Good point. He was probably one of the only guys. Yeah, speaking of like Dylan, he just kind of dressed like himself, it seemed like, which, no hate. But I wanted to talk about sort of the Dylan and Britney thing because, I think when you get to a point, it's just like, why are we pretending? And it was very clear that both of them knew that they were not on the same page. Britney picked up on the cues. Dylan's going after me. Um, I just don't know, like, Brittany's plan once she realized, okay, yeah, Dylan's definitely gonna go at me at the round table. Let me get all the girls together against him. Was that the right move? Was there another play? Like, or was that the only play? I don't know.
I really liked where Danielle's head was at with that. And something that she shared with Dolores that I thought was really smart was Dylan is going to banish everyone until it's just him and Gabby. I thought
Mm,
that was great, because if you're a faithful, we'll box in the parking lot. If you're faithful and you make it to the end and then someone cuts you for the money, like what happened with last season, I would be so pissed. And I
yeah.
thought that was great, where it's like, hey, just eliminate the boys club of it all. You have Ivar and Dylan where they're, and now Gabby, who's like guaranteed. And it's like, Dolores, just cover your bases. You should vote with me to get Dylan out. I
Yeah,
thought that,
Dolores is not reasonable. Like, I don't know. She votes more emotionally. So
which
that's
is
the tough
crazy,
part.
which blows my mind, which is maybe a hint that she made it too far, by the Traitors. But I really liked the way that she collected all the evidence, and to me, that was like experienced reality TV veteran versus someone who hadn't been. And you could see that Dylan was like blown away and was kind of uncomfortable of like, wow, you're like bringing the heat. And she goes, yeah, if you're going to say my name, I'm going to pull out my notebook, bring all the evidence, and then talk to the manager. And she's like talking at him.
Great.
And I'm like, it really reminded me of like my time in the Big Brother house. There are a couple times where, you know, Tucker is accusing me of throwing his clothes on the floor. And then it's like, okay, I'm not even going to hide it anymore. Like you're pissing me off, dude. And this is why it would be dumb for my game. And it's like that to me, it felt like you poked Britney in the wrong way, where not only are you saying that she's like a traitor and is this dastardly murderer, now you're upset with her for going after you and defending herself. And that's when like I felt like the heat really came out. And so I thought she did what she had to do. It was kind of, I don't know, like it really felt like a Hail Mary. I really think that she was in a sinking ship as it was. And it was really unfortunate. I thought she gave one of the best deliveries of evidence of the season. It was like her and Derek, I felt like, oh, and Danielle, of course, against Carolyn, where they had all the receipts and they provided a case and pushed it forward. And it's interesting that 2 of the 3 times that a case was very solid and presented to the group, 2 out of 3, it didn't work. And so it was very fascinating. I thought that she did a great job with what she had.
Yeah, especially because Dylan has been so faithful, right? To come out, she said, like, you know, the way that Danielle reacted to him was weird. The way he wanted to Seer power was like a little weird. Who makes the best, you know, the most sense for as a recruitment? Like, I do think, given what she had, which was not much, she did do it really, really well. I didn't love Dylan's reaction, if I'm being honest. I think this is the thing with Traitors is like, it's a very like, well, if you're faithful, you're moral and all this. And then if you're a traitor, you're not. It kind of gets a little ugly, like, because it kind of borderline goes into real life when it's not, it shouldn't. And I feel like when he was like, you're attacking me, it's like, well, no, like she's providing evidence just like when you and Bob the drag queen went at it. So I didn't love that reaction from Dylan. I don't know how you feel.
It feels like when you're faithful for too long, it like corrupts your soul. And you start looking at people and it's like this posturing and this energy that you are pure because you know that you're faithful. It's like, if you are faithful, it has to be every night you go to the hotel, you have the Green Goblin mask being like, you're the only good one. Everyone else is just this terrible person. And I loved it when Gabby was like, to be a traitor, you have to be a psycho. It's like, well, she's being funny. And instead, Dylan was like, yo, you're straight up, you're going to jail after this. Like, you have a lifetime of prison in front of you. Someone do an audit. Is she doing her taxes? Get her behind bars. Anything. I definitely think that being a faithful kind of emboldens people to posture themselves as greater than, which is always
especially when they're like, I could never be a traitor. Like, maybe you can never be a traitor because you're just not a good liar. But like, it just feels a little icky sometimes when they go there because I'm like, guys, this is a TV show. This is a game, right? Like, let's chill a little bit. But ultimately, you know, Brittany does get banished. I don't know how you feel. I think she was a dead woman walking going in there. I think she put on a really, really good effort to switch some votes, but like didn't it seem like they were sort of set before they even went in there? I don't know.
It really felt like they were zoning out but still nodding their head along, where it's like,
yes,
so true, bestie. Yep. Yeah, you're right. That is pretty suspicious. That's crazy. Anyway, Alan, let me know when we're going to chalk it up. Yeah, for sure. Like, that's what it felt like. I thought Brittany's goodbye was really good. We've had some really good exits.
Let's hear it. Which ones you liking?
I liked Wes. Wes is sassy to Josh, and he says that Big Brother people are psychos. So I want to dislike Wes, but him flipping the bird to everyone is admittedly very funny. I thought that Carolyn's goodbye was so money. I thought Bob the Drag Queens was gas pack, and I thought Britney was the way to end strong, where she was like, I don't even know what she said. She was like,
I don't know, wind or something. What did she say?
And she just dipped. And I loved, she was like, don't come for me unless I call for you. I was like, that was good. Oh my gosh, Brittany, who let the dogs out? Come on. Oh my gosh. Oh, she's so cool. She's so cool.
This is the Britney, like, you get reminded, like, oh, this is why we freaking love Britney, because
Yeah.
people, like, listen, I think because she was quiet for a lot of the game, maybe people didn't think she had it in her. But like, if you're a Big Brother fan, you've seen her DRs. Like, she can be ruthless, and she nailed that line. I love that line.
It was
Oh
so good.
god,
Oh my
it was
gosh.
so good.
She's the
All
best.
right, well, give me a little bit of a Britney eulogy here. Like, she was the last traitor standing, although she was a recruit, last Big Brother person in there. Yes, she played the game very differently than Danielle and even the other people. But what do you think about Britney's game in the Traitor Castle?
I'm a firm believer that Britney is the funniest person in reality TV. If there are zero Britney fans, it means that I am dead in a ditch. There's nothing she can do wrong. She represents Big Brother in the best way possible. She showed off what a like real social game combined with strategic savviness without the need to show off can really
Mm,
do in a game like this. I'm sad that she was lambda slaughter. It felt like they were marching her to the gallows. She was destined to die, but she put on a good show from start to finish. The only crime of her game was that we didn't get more of her.
yeah,
Her and Gabby were like competing, I felt like, through the editors of like who the funny person is. And I felt like we should have just gotten both,
they're
cut
both in
out.
different ways. Like,
Yeah,
they're not the
they're
same
just
funny.
they're hilarious. And I just think that Britney's magnum opus was her during the competition where they're moving the Gum Gum guy from Night at the Museum. You know what I'm talking about? Those statues. Like
Yeah,
when they're moving that was her magnum opus. That's when I feel like the public got her sense of humor. And
yep.
sad to see her go, but she's the best to ever do it. She's one of my faves.
I love Brittany. Great game, but yeah, I was bummed to see her because also it left four people that I don't dislike the winners. But it's kind of when the traders go out, it's four faithfuls left, and they're probably not going to cut each other. It's just kind of like a want want. But wait, Quinn, we totally forgot about this mission, which probably did not mean anything, but like, any thoughts about this helicopter thing? I kind of glossed over. I don't know. Just
I love that the last 2 years they had Suri swimming in shark infested waters, climbing the highest ridges you've ever seen in your life. And then this year they're like, all right, you're going to press in a code and there will be a burst of smoke. I liked their outfits. I liked that everyone looked like they were here for a heist. I thought Dylan sold the look with his little ski cap. I wish that Ivar was wearing like a shiesty or a what's it called? A ski mask. That would have been very
yeah.
funny to me. The vintage cars, they should have let them drive.
Yeah, what the
Um,
hell? They were in the passenger seat? Like,
that was so lame. I was like, it would be
weird.
funny to find out that like who wouldn't know how to drive stick shift within them. Like, I don't
Well,
know, but it would be
Ivar
funny
definitely
seeing them.
can.
Oh yes,
He's
I
the
love the
European.
idea of one of them stalling out and like needing help. Like I just thought that that would be very funny. I would have called dibs on the maroon one. I'm hoping that they have that laying around somewhere and they can send it to me. I don't know. But them hanging from the helicopter, I was like, this is fun, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It last year it felt so physically demanding and intense, and it was like running water and they're like jumping over lava. And then this year they're like, everyone get in the SUV. And then they get out of the SUV, they do like one thing. They went to the unicorn forest, and then that was it. Like
That was
it,
a bust. I was like, what is this?
the bags of money were
The
this big.
riddles.
It should have been a massive duffel bag. Like that would have been fun. I don't know. It felt really anticlimactic, honestly. Like
And
I don't
it's
know.
always, you guys can double your money. It's like, yeah, because we're in the finale, and like, no one even remembers how much money is in the prize pot.
Yeah.
I think they ended up with 200 something. So between the four of them will be 50K, but then you got taxes. I mean, they're not walking away with like a ton of money, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I hate to be that person that's always complaining about the missions. I just think it was like kind of a flop, but yeah, you know.
It felt very rushed. It felt like they didn't care about it. Honestly, like
No.
last year, it's like the Traitors like seal of the editors is that it's like manufactured like stress that the clock is going to run
Mm,
out.
yes.
Um, and it's like it's even bled into Dondi. Like 2 episodes ago, he's like Joe is counting out. He's like 10, 9, and it's a wide shot, and you can see the hourglass has this much sand in it. And I'm like,
It's
we
just
don't need this to create
no.
urgency. That's the word I was looking for. Manufactured urgency. And so it felt like they heard the complaints about the challenge, and they're like, okay, yeah, no one cares about this. Let's just get through it. We don't.
Just make it
All
cool and
right.
they're flying in a helicopter, whatever. Like,
There's a ring of
yeah.
fire, and no one cares. It's like everyone's asleep, but
Yeah. Wow. Well, speaking of the fire, we go to the fire, it's the four of them. Was there any inclination in like, did you think anyone was gonna cut anyone? I guess
I think they
Dylan maybe,
should.
but yep, obviously.
It's like,
Um,
hello. If I'm Gabby, I would look at them and be like, which one of you is the most like devious person? I'm gonna go up and pitch like, hey, we should banish someone. And then you like at least get it down to 3. And then I would dap up whoever the person was and be like, let's get this thing to 2. At least do something like you have a commitment, which maybe for like Traitors 12, I'll be on, and that's going to ruin me in the end game where they're going to be like, well, Quinn actually had an interview with the wonderful Sharon Tharp. Yeah, 500,000 subscribers. Yeah, that's Sharon.
yes.
Quinn said that he would do that. But that's my thing. Even if you're faithful, you have to do the good TV thing and throw the fire and be
Yes.
like, you have to. It's like you have a commitment to the people, but
Like
instead we
I
got
know
fast
Gabby
tracked for a
said
reunion show.
I totally agree. I know Gabby said she was there for the money, and I'm not trying to poo poo like $50,000 because like that is a lot of money. But someone like Dolores, I don't know everyone's financial situation. It just seemed a little like take the risk, like make some good TV. You guys, the whole reason a lot of you are on this show is to build up your reputation and do something else. Like I'm sure a lot of them aren't on this show for one, the money, or two, just to like play a game. They're there because they want to be on TV. And so yeah, just like I don't understand why you wouldn't. I don't know. It's too. And I know Gabby said that she's like it's very kumbaya. Um,
That's it.
Not my favorite.
You actually made a really good point where it reminds me of when Boston Rob got evicted and he had that round table where he calls out Bob the drag queen. A lot of Twitter was saying Boston Rob just secured him another TV show. And I think that that's like the behavior that we should reward. Like
Yep.
I have some Survivor friends who are a little bit fed up with seeing Boston Rob on their screen, and I can understand why. But the truth is, he always delivers. My mom loves Boston Rob, and so it's like I think that he was the golden example of, hey, even if you're on a sinking ship, you need to secure your next appearance on a TV show, and so you need to deliver the fun, campy moments that we're looking for as viewers, and that should extend all the way to the end where you've got this circle of fire and who's pure, who's not. I don't care if you are, but I'm going to point my finger at you and say that you're a dirtbag and I can smell it a mile away. Like, that's what I think they
Yep.
should be doing.
Yeah, I think you know who I think has this figured out? Some of the people in the challenge. I think they're the ones that get it. They're like, there's like 40 people here. I need to like make a name for myself and make some splashy TV. And yeah, I don't think that was, I guess, the motivation for these four, but maybe it should have been. So I don't
Absolutely.
know. Okay, well, what else? Do you think they need to change any of the game mechanics going forward? Obviously, the game is going to evolve. People are going to get smarter and sort of game the system a little bit. But like any and people have talked about this, but like any big changes you would like to see, or do you think it's sort of good how it is?
I think that they need to lean into the cultiness more. I think that like the first ceremony where they all have the gold masks, if they
Mm,
did that at nighttime, oh my gosh, it's money. But instead, it was
you're
out in
right.
the in the daylight, which now it looks like a Party City mask. But if it's at night, it looks way better. So I think that they need a director of like cult curation, and I'm open for business. But outside of that, I kind of like that the Traitors is broken. I like that it heavily favors the Traitors, and if you are a faithful, you have an uphill battle. And so I'm not the maddest at the broken system. I know that my friend Corey has a lot of opinions on like the way the show is set up. I'm okay with it being broken because it's just like theater. Maybe they take a note from, and shout out my friends Hugo and Olivia that were on Claim to Fame, where it's like the challenges are an opportunity to learn information that
Yes.
might give away. I've seen that opinion online, and I think that that's, that's probably a step in the right direction. But honestly, I don't need, and I played a lot of Mafia this summer, which wasn't even that much, but it was too much for me. I hated it. I was like, why are we doing this? I don't think we need more roles. I think like the
No.
Seer is maybe like a fun thing at the start of the season. But other than that, I don't need us to complicate it any further. Just give us more confessionals with our faves, and I think people will enjoy it.
That's fair. Let's not introduce like a doctor, detective, whatever else. Yeah, let's not go too deep there. I've made some complaints about the challenges being, or up the prize money or something to make it a little bit more interesting. I know everyone gets paid very well to be there, and that's probably why they don't care so much about the prize money. But like that might, I think, could be like an easy switch. And we know Peacock has deep pockets. But yeah, and then there's obviously the argument to be made about like there's got to be more maybe incentive to get out a traitor because of the traitor angel strategy. I see that, but I also agree with you. Like I kind of accept this for what it is, which is fun TV. And so when people are analyzing like everyone's gameplay, that's fun. But at the end of the day, like a Danielle, for example, she made great TV. I don't care if you hated the way she played. She is a freaking star. So I get both sides of it, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely agree. I do think that you're right. The money does feel very arbitrary. Like it's like a second thought, especially, and they weren't as transparent about it with this like final competition where they're like, you now have an opportunity to collect all the money you've lost. At least now
Yeah.
they're like, you can double it, but if you miss, you don't lose the money. That me and my mom were convinced that they would lose the money,
Oh.
but they didn't. And so it was only an opportunity to grow. So I'm like, well, what's the risk? Now you're not like disappointed that you missed half the shots. Because if that were the case, then they would have made the same amount of money,
That
period.
is
But
so
like
true. I didn't even think about
it,
that.
it just feels very arbitrary. I don't know. I commented on Danielle like posted on Instagram where she's like, "Hey y'all, I know I'm playing really messy, like whatever, and I can explain. You'll see it." And I commented, this is early in the season. I was like, "You never have to explain yourself." And
Yeah.
then as the season has continued on, it's just getting more and more likes where people are coming around with Danielle where they're like, "Wait, like her fake crying and shaking, like I bet on set that that's probably very exhausting when you find out that she's a traitor
Yeah.
and you're like, she was doing all of that as a traitor. That's crazy." But it worked. Like they were always surprised that she was until it got to the very end where it was so obvious. But like, I don't know. I'm very like charitable when it comes to the way people are being painted on the screen where I'm like, if you're not saying anything hurtful and you're not being malicious and mean,
Exactly.
then I'm not too worried about it. Like you can be campy. It's fine.
Yeah, I that's what I said. I was like, give some people some grace. I mean, I say the same thing about Big Brother. It's like, unless they're being a horrible human, fine, but like otherwise, like whatever. Like, please. Okay, well, before we talk about the reunion a little bit, I gotta know who do you want on the next season of the Traitors? They're casting right now. I think they're gonna film May, I want to say. I know you sort of put some thought into this. I would love to hear
Yes, I have a
who do you
million
have.
thoughts. Um,
Are we sticking with Big Brother or is this everywhere? Are we going all
but
over?
this is pulling from everywhere. I have one
Okay,
Big Brother like representative.
perfect.
I have Bear from Alaskan Bush People.
Don't know him,
Um,
but I support it.
it's all over. Their show is all over my TikTok, and his whole thing is he's very extreme, and it's very campy. I think that he would buy it. He would. I think they could convince him that the people are actually dying. And I think that that is good TV. I like their family is like crazy in like all the ways that are good. It's just good TV. They're very like it's incredible. I
Okay.
think Miss Piggy from the Muppets. If we can't get her in Knives Out, which that's where I got this idea was that we need a Muppet on the next movie of Knives Out. I hope she's on the Traitors. I don't know
Oh,
what
that
Arissa
works.
Cox is up to, but You know, let's get her a gig. All
I
right, let's
support
get her on
that.
our screen. I think Sean Evans from Hot Ones, the bald guy. I think
Oh,
he would be
okay.
great.
He'd
Robert
bring in
Irwin.
viewers.
Yeah, it's bringing in a new audience. Robert
Robert
Irwin, Steve
Irwin.
Irwin's son. I think that he would be the rebirth of Pilot Pete and Dylan
Dylan.
Efron. I think my new friends Danny Butler and his mom from The Amazing Race. They're the ones from Walla Walla, Washington.
Oh.
My vote is that they are a combined seat. Like they have to share the same seat and they're voting together at the round table. They're
Has
only
that
one vote.
happened?
I don't know, but I think that'd be funny where it's like,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
because Amazing Race is all about your duos. I think Jeremy Wade from the River Monsters reality show, they had to cut that show because they caught all the river monsters. He's crazy.
No. Wait, is
Like,
that the one where they shoot the alligators?
I don't know. Probably they've probably
Or
killed an
that's
alligator.
swamp people. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just get these shows confused.
I think Demi from The Bachelor would be great. She'd be great
Oh, love her.
representation. I think Chris Angel, Mind Freak, would be wonderful.
What's he doing these days?
I don't know. Hannah from Summer House, but I don't know. I've never seen Summer House in my life. Hannah Berner. I watch her on Giggly Squad. That's one of my favorite
Yes.
podcasts. I think she would be hilarious.
Super polarizing.
PJ from American Idol. I went to high school with him. He's one of my best friends. His mom and my mom are coworkers. And yeah. Oh, and Sharon Tharp and Rico
Stop.
Nasty.
Who's Rico Nasty? Nasty. Am I too old to
She-
understand this?
She's a rapper. Oh wait, Ann Turner, my twin sister, from Big Brother. I think Turner would be absolutely hilarious because I don't think he would want to get too invested in it. And so they'd be like, "Who do you think it is?" And I think he'd be like, "I don't know." I think Turner would be great, and I hope his debut, since Big Brother is on the Traitors. Those are my picks.
We shall see. All right. Well, first of all, I love that you didn't go the traditional route and just say all the same names that everyone else said. I also love that I didn't know half the names because sometimes it's good to like introduce people that like we don't know yet. I've known most of the people on the shows, and even the people that I didn't, it was pleasantly surprised by most of them. But yeah, okay, so no Survivor names.
I had Jerry Manthe down, but I didn't want to keep going on. But Jerry Manthe, I sat next to her at a Red Lobster, and there's no
What?
shot she remembers me. But she's so cool in real life. Like I thought I was sitting there with like my jaw on the ground. I was like, oh, this is insane.
What city was this?
This
Where
was in
was this?
Florida. I was sitting at a table. This is so crazy. I was the other than who was there? Oh gosh, Ozza. I was the only Big Brother person, and it was like Jam Jam was sitting across from me, or Yam Yam. Jam Jam, right?
No, I think it's Jam Jam. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Jam Jam. It's spelled with a Y. That's why I got confused.
Yeah.
Ozzy was catty corner from me. Then it was like Jerry Manthe, and then it was like who else? It was like all these massive, gigantic Survivor legends, and then I'm just sitting there, and they didn't have a clue who I was. And it was like, I was like, man. And I was sitting next to the queen of reality TV, Liz Wilcox. Okay, because if they're not given a Chili's reward, she's pissed. All right, and we need to see it.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. I like that cast. I'm into it. And Quinn, I'm assuming you would play Traitors. Would you ever turn that down, or is that a definite yes?
I'm begging for the opportunity to be on Traitors. I was filled with hope when I saw that Carolyn was brought on because she's a recent person and she's like very. I don't want to. She would say that she's weird, and that always resonated with
in
me
a good
as
way.
A viewer, and I feel like I fill that like weirdo bucket. So I'm like, okay, we have a chance. If not Traitors, I want to go on Dondi. Maybe I need to do really well on Deal or No Deal Island, and then Traitors is like, you know what? This kid's pretty sick nasty. Let's give him a call. But
I think that could work because at least on Dondi you can make some good ass money too, and then you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I do want to touch real quick before we go on the reunion a little bit. It was, people are saying it was a little boring. Did you find it boring? What was your overall thoughts on it?
I thought that this season's like reunion was the best one that we've had.
For sure.
Other than like the awkward discomfort of season 1 when What's Their Bucket was like, I for real hate Sarit. Like
Yeah.
that was like uncomfortable to watch, and like it's like a car accident in slow motion. But this year I felt like we had Bob the drag queen was reading everyone to filth, like just cooking. Everyone was dressed really well. I feel like
Yeah.
they must have seen my hate tweets. Not really, but like it felt like everyone had finally stepped up and thought, okay, this is the big one where we dress nice. There was some back and forth of like, I don't know who you are, and it's like, well, you should. I'm like, well, I don't know who
Yeah.
you are either.
Those are my favorite moments when they're arguing over who's more famous and who's there for screen time. I love that. I eat that up.
Ion, a slept on moment. Ion's like, this is why you voted me out. This whatever. And then Bob the drag queen says, close second. I was like, oh, get him, come on. It's just back to back to back. I thought that there's also, for some reason, we were ganging up on Britney. I don't know if I'm just defensive over Britney, but I was like, okay, we can all relax, all right? Like, she voted out her friend. Okay, well, her friend is also the most cutthroat like player of all time. So it's like, let's not, like, it's part of the game.
I thought the editing between that it was a little weird because they're arguing about the Dolores thing and like I don't know it. And I had heard that they had gone back. I had heard they talk about reindeer games a lot, and I was like, oh, that's definitely gonna get cut. So if that was like 20-minute conversation that they edited really choppy, I felt like it definitely seemed like there was a little tension between Danielle and Britney. But again, I do truly think Britney. I believe her when she said that's not how she wanted to end. She kind of felt sort of like she didn't really have another option. And yeah, I get it. Like I get both sides. And yeah, I don't know.
It feels silly from the start. Okay.
Yeah.
It's reindeer games. Are you upset that you were sent to die in reindeer games? I don't know if it's like, if we're that invested. Is Danielle still holding like malice for her Big Brother 3 cast? Like, I don't know. It feels like, it feels very unnecessary, but it's also someone's feelings. So I'm always going to be sympathetic to that. But it's like, it would be as if I were still upset with chemo. Like like that's weird. It was part of the game. It wasn't the like best decision or whatever. Him telling Tucker about my upgrade, but it would be strange if I was still like shaking with rage and being like, if I ever get the chance, I'm taking chemo out. It's like, no, you should probably just like be friends with people after the show. That's always what I'll put out there is like, as long as no one said anything irreparable, then you should just be friends because
I agree.
Tight-knit community.
I agree. And honestly, I always read it as, and again, everyone's feelings are valid. I always read it as Danielle hasn't been on TV. She wasn't on TV for 20 years. She comes back. She wants to win so bad. I do think it sucked that it happened, the situation, and she thought she could trust Britney, blah, blah, blah. But I think it really came down to like Danielle just really wanted to win. And when her dream was sort of crushed, I think, that hurts. So I think that had a little bit to do with it, not necessarily like Britney herself. I don't know.
I think that's a great analysis. Funny enough, my friend Liz Wilcox, she told me, I was kind of talking to her like months ago about the opinions of like other reality TV people and like the way that they spoke about me on Twitter and how it really annoyed me. Like not even like, because in my opinion, they're wrong. And she pointed out like a lot of these interactions and like people are disagreeing. She asks herself, okay, do they dislike me? Or is it a very competitive person going head to head against another competitive person? And I think to get on Big Brother or Survivor, you have to be competitive. Like part of anyone's casting process, you have to paint the picture that you're there to play and that on day 85, you're going to want it just as bad as you wanted it on day 1. And so I'm willing to bet that plays a huge factor of Danielle is super competitive and her game ended through the lens of, well, Britney put me up. And so I definitely think that that's a really great perspective. There's a reason why you're so popular.
No, I mean, I try to see it from every angle. I don't think it's always that personal. Like, I think people just really want to win these shows. Um, the other thing I guess we saw was we saw a little bit of the Carolyn and Danielle stuff. I actually thought they were going to make more of a meal of this. I was surprised. Carolyn was, it didn't seem as like hostile as I thought it was going to be going in there. But how do you feel about that Carolyn versus Danielle stuff?
Um, so it's like Carolyn is one of my favorite Survivor players, especially in the like recent seasons. And I'm gonna rock with Danielle through anything just because of like Big Brother, and she's someone who I'll always respect. And so it really is hard watching like two of your faves
Yeah,
not exactly be on the same page. I was happy that it felt like the stage was split where Carolyn had Gabby with
yeah.
her and then Danielle had Bob the drag queen. So it felt like they had their two like emotional support people there. Um, I think that I don't know. It's like you can understand, like I can understand why Carolyn was disappointed to lose because she felt like she was playing a better game than Danielle, and like Danielle, their whole thing was that Danielle went after Carolyn first. I felt like Carolyn was going to like it. Well, first it was Boston Rob took out Bob the drag queen, and then Danielle was like, I'm gonna weaken Boston Rob by going after Carolyn. And so it's like, I think that from the perspective of Carolyn is that Carolyn played a like better game, but she
Mm,
still went home early because Danielle's a better talker in those high pressure situations. And then I don't know. It I can see both perspectives of like why they're
yeah.
hurt, but I also am just like, can't we all be friends, please? Like,
I know. I think a lot of things can be true at once, and that's why I said I was like, I don't understand that. Like, why are we saying gotta like one or the other? I kind of see both sides, and like these games get really messy, and people take it things personally. And like you said, I think the timeline's a little all over the place too, because like I do think there was a point where Danielle's like, "No, I won't say your name again," and then she didn't. But then an old time she said it was brought up, and it's like
yeah,
it gets messy, and I hope they're good. It seemed like I don't think they're gonna be best friends, but it seemed like the reunion wasn't as crazy as I thought. So I was sort of happy about that. Um, Anything else we didn't
absolutely.
talk about? I'm trying to think. I was not that I'm surprised because they went out early, but like it is kind of weird to have like two huge Survivor winners and Tony and Jeremy up there, and they're really not really part of anything. And it's kind of just wild because like I love both of them too. So that was kind of like, damn, maybe it was the wrong season for them, or just yeah, I don't know.
I was sad. It felt like this season felt very strange with like the include what were they called? The Cage Boys.
Your Cage
um
Boys, a boy band.
it was like they included three really big like reality TV personalities in addition to like I think Jeremy is great. Like Jeremy to me
I
is one of
love
the coolest
Jeremy.
people that has ever existed. Like he is just cool. And like Tony is so exciting and engaging TV. They barely got any screen time on the finale. And it was like I think you're right. It was just the wrong season. It felt like they really did their big one of we're gonna get Wes and we're gonna get Derek and we're gonna get Boston Rob and Tony's there too. And it's like, okay, well,
Spread it
we could
out.
have, yeah, we could have spread this out, and it would have been more fun. Where maybe they have like, well, I guess they had Carolyn as like the new rep, but like you could have new and old of like Big
Yeah.
Brother and Survivor, where maybe that's a way to like get bang for your buck, so everyone gets the opportunity to shine. But I don't know. It's kind of sad that we didn't even really hear from them. I liked that Jeremy explained to Bob the drag queen of like, if I come to you and say they're saying your name, that means I'm with you.
Yeah.
Don't let me die because I'm protecting you. And Bob the drag queen goes, well, now I know that. And I was like, oh my god, that's so sad that we lost Jeremy to such a, in my opinion, silly thing.
Yeah.
I've him in the coffin being like, I'll work with you. That's hilarious. It's just it's so sad that we lost Tony and them, and we didn't hear from them. Um,
Yeah. But you're right though. I think like they didn't need to put that many big personalities from one show. Like, spread it out. Like, this is clearly a successful show. It's winning Emmys. Like, you're not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, I understand. Like, it was really cool for me to see freaking Dan Giesling and Parvati in a turret. Like, that was mind blowing to me, and that's really cool. But you don't also maybe need Suri and Sandra and Janelle all the same season. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being just like a lot. Could spread it out.
No, I think we're right. I think we're cooking. All right, they need to get
We're
us on the
cooking.
payroll, Peacock. Come on, dude.
I'm telling you, I feel the same way about Big Brother. Like, let me fix the show. I'm gonna go in there, just like switch some stuff up. Any other thoughts on Traitors season 3, Quinn? Anyone we didn't talk about that you wanted to touch on? Anything we missed?
I really appreciated Carolyn breaking down, like, okay, the way that people perceive me, yes, I'm using it as a strategy, but I'm not milking it. And I thought that that was like important to talk about, where when you are like a zany personality, so often people don't see you as a real person. And so
Mm.
they're like, "Oh, you're benefiting from the fact that we all think you're crazy." And it's like, "Well, you still think I'm crazy. Like, that's still insane. Like, you don't value me as a person." And so I really appreciated her getting the opportunity to talk about that. Um, Tom Sandoval, like, people are saying that
Yeah,
this
what are your
rehabilitated
thoughts?
his image. I didn't know who Tom Sandoval was. I went to his restaurant for a birthday party when I was in LA, and it seemed like a nice venue. I heard that he was a cheater. I think cheating is crazy. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of someone who's like cheating on their significant other ever. So I'm not gonna super like this guy. Um,
He was
and so it
funny.
was like, yeah, to me it felt like I was always on like thin ice with Tom, where I'm like, all right, you don't get too comfortable, buddy. All right, you're still a criminal. All right, you're
Earn your
still,
place.
yeah. I liked that he was kind of the punching bag of the season. Um, when it comes to casting, like I like it when they bring on a random British parliament, like
You
member
do?
of parliament,
Okay.
whatever, but not the one that says I don't do drama. That's crazy. Like, no, I need someone who's spilling royal secrets to the public. Like,
Yes.
they're leaking information. They're like, yeah, we want this person on our show. Um, it just
Fair.
feels weird whenever someone admits that they're not there for drama, because it's like, well, that's not super exciting
Yeah, why would
TV.
they
And
cast him if he said,
yeah, it's
you know?
like, and yeah, who reached out to him? Like, that's so fascinating. Um, I think that
Any
who
thoughts
else was on this
on
season?
Sam, Britney Spears' ex?
Why did wait? No, you just reminded me. Why did he, like, in the reunion episode? It's like they randomly hot mic him, and he's like, you know, Carolyn said she had a crush on you,
Yes.
Tom. I was like, all right, Sam, play it cool, dude. All right, maybe be like, yo, Tom, don't you think Carolyn looks gorgeous tonight? And she does. And then you're setting it up for a conversation. Don't
Oh.
just like out her. Like, come on, help him out, or you know, like, make something
Especially
happen
because
there.
he's used to like people like saying stuff behind people's back. Like he should know better. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know who else was on the
I
show.
mean, there's a lot of them. Nikki, Sierra, Grishelle, the Bambi girls. Yeah,
I
other
liked
than that,
the fact that the Bambi Girls existed. I like that Bob wanted to be a part of the Bambi Girls. I know, listen, I have like blue eyes, and so I know I'm not getting an invite, but if I could be like an honorary member, like,
I
I
have
would
blue eyes.
feel, yeah, it's like we got to come up with our own team, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, the I don't know, but I related to that, where it's like I much prefer the company of the ladies. You know, I wasn't trying to form an all dudes alliance in the Big Brother house, and I wouldn't do that in Traitors. I would be so sad. I'd be like, yo, I want to. That would have been how I connected with them. I'd be like, I want to be a Bambi girl so bad, but I get that, like, I don't have brown eyes and I'm not a girl. But like, if you're tossing out honorary bids, like, give me a call. I think that they should cultivate the show way more. I think that Alan Cummings is like, you know, Nightcrawler, perfect level of campiness. Let's get the aesthetic going. Let's get it be a poorly lit castle. Like, let's do things in the woods. Let's let it
I
be
never
creepy.
thought about this, but it's so true. Like they like almost put a half measure effort in. Like they go hard with Alan's outfits. They go hard with certain things. And you're right. Like sometimes it's like brightly lit and it's kind of like, okay, like, we need more kilts in there, I guess, too. I don't know.
That is true. And I think that you should have to submit. I had to show them what outfits I wanted to wear. And you get your clothes approved to be on Big Brother. I think that you should submit it and be like, hey, this is what I was thinking. And then they can tell you, no, that's unacceptable.
I think they do.
That's crazy to me. I'm telling you right now, I right now own like a plaid 3-piece suit. I own a maroon suit. I own this like killer double-breasted like pinstripe, but it's black on black. Like right now, as a average person in America, have a better outfit lineup than what half these reality TV like mega celebrities had, and it blows my mind. There wasn't one case of like what are bell bottoms, like nothing. It was like Kendrick Lamar was better dressed, like he was wearing better pants than people in the House of Traitors. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't see the Super Bowl, but well, Quinn, I'm so happy we got to talk this through. You're always welcome to come chat reality TV. Excuse me. I hope I come back before the Big Brother season. I'm not really sure. So comment below if you have an idea of like what you would want me to talk about. I watch a lot of TV. But yeah, Quinn, so you're doing your Twitch thing. You're covering, what are you covering right now? Dondi?
Yes, I've been covering Dondi. And through that, I've gotten the opportunity to like meet a lot of people in my coverage, like me and Dixon and Philip. I would argue we're best friends.
Yeah, I love both of them. They're really nice guys.
Just very sweet. And then I also cover Survivor. Like I always cover it the next day.
Okay.
And that's been a lot of fun. I've connected with Kevin, Camilla, Justin. Like I've been able to like really leverage my like appearance on a TV show as a means of becoming friends with people on other reality shows.
Oh yeah, this is new for you. I forgot because that it is cool. Like I don't say that enough too. Like to have Danielle Reyes' phone number in my phone is like actually psycho. Like if you told me that when I was a child, in high school, I'd lose my mind. So I can relate to you, Quinn. Totally get it.
It's been very exciting. Like I'm in a I'm going to be on this cruise thing, and so I'm in a group chat right now with Howie, Bo, like Danielle, Britney, Angela from Big Brother 26. It's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, anytime I think about sending a message in there, I'm like, gotta play it cool. Like, oh my gosh.
Who's the messiest in there? Angela?
No, Angela's so nice. Like it's so funny. When the cameras aren't on, Angela is an angel, and I will stand on that. That's the homie. But like, I feel like Howie texts in there a lot, and I don't have any of their numbers saved because I don't want to ask. I feel like that's very embarrassing. But I know who Howie is based off. He's the same person he was in Big Brother 6 and 7, and so it's like I'm a fly on the wall, and I'm like, it feels imposter syndrome where I'm like, man, this is kind of huge for me. This is nothing for any of you, but this is huge for me. I've just been super grateful for all the opportunities that Big Brother has brought me, and I'm on your show right now. Like this is crazy to me. I'm a huge fan of reality TV. I love the community, and I'll take any opportunity I can to celebrate.
I love that. Well, go check out Quinn's Twitch. Like I said, I hope we get to do this again, and please like and subscribe to my listeners, and thank you for following along with the Traitors.